Once again, we're in this fearsome part of the revelation to Saint John the Divine, and here we have again the rebellious peoples of the world who, in a sense, the whore of Babylon, which is is kind of code for Rome, is like this is like basically this is a mystery, meaning I'm about to speak to you in code. It's Babylon the Great, of course, is saying, okay, this stands for the Roman Empire. But the Christian Church has received this word, has one that really stands for all earth worldly power, especially the powers of politics and commerce and military might, that in a sense seek to exercise kind of a universal dominion over humanity, and that these worldly powers, in their dependence upon violence, consume those who give their lives to them, those who give their lives to political power games, those who give their lives to violence, those who give their lives to acquiring wealth. And you have the woman who's on the beast, and she has all these symbols of material commerce, right? She has gold and ivory, and there's jewels, and she has a big golden cup. And so in a sense, you're just loading the symbolism for all these ways to describe what comes from, buy low, sell high, the culture of the commodification of the human experience and even the human person. And ultimately, in the midst of that, right, that these worldly powers make war on the Lamb, on those who follow a way of mercy and of justice and of suffering love. But it says the scripture says that the Lamb conquered, that love had the final word, that mercy wins in the end, that in the end there is only mercy, and that those who follow the way of the Lamb are called and chosen and faithful. Right? Called, chosen, and faithful. That means that you have been called, and in the scripture, the call of God is something that is transformative. It's almost basically, if you hear God's call, you are immediately changed by it. So those who are called are those who are already transformed by hearing God's voice in their life. So those who are called, who are transformed, they are chosen, that they are marked for a special purpose, that they are elect, that they have been chosen and empowered to be God's people in the world, to be a part of the Lamb's witness to the vindication of suffering love, and that they are faithful, that even in the midst of rejection and difficulty and suffering, they hold fast to the way of love. So in the midst of all this violence and hurly-burly commerce, which then again the violence of the world once it strips the woman of all her wealth, isn't that true, that human conflict strips the wealth from the very societies that acquire it, that nothing can really prosper as long as conflict and violence are allowed to dominate our lives. And so even the wealth and the power of the world gets stripped away. What remains is the power of the Lamb and the faithfulness of those who follow the way of love. So remember, you are called, chosen, and faithful. You've been transformed. You have a purpose, and you have been given the strength to sustain the way of mercy and love, no matter what is going on in the rest of the world, meaning our little corners of it, of course. A reading from the Revelation of St. John the Divine. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the judgment of the great whore who is seated on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and with the wine of whose fornication the inhabitants of the earth have become drunk." So he carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was full of blasphemous names, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was clothed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and jewels and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the impurities of her fornication. And on her forehead was written a name, a mystery: Babylon the Great, mother of whores and of earth's abominations. And I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of the saints and the blood of the witnesses to Jesus. When I saw her, I was greatly amazed. But the angel said to me, "Why are you so amazed? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns that carries her. The beast that you saw was and is about to ascend from the bottomless pit and go to destruction. And the inhabitants of the earth, whose names have not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will be amazed when they see the beast, because it was and is to come. This calls for a mind that has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman is seated. Also, they are 7 kings, of whom 5 have fallen, 1 is living, and the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must remain only a little while. As for the beast that was and is not, it is an 8th, but it belongs to the 7, and it goes to destruction. And the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings, who have not yet received a kingdom, but they are to receive authority as kings for 1 hour, together with the beast. These are united in yielding their power and authority to the beast. They will make war on the Lamb, and the Lamb will conquer them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and those with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said to me, the waters that you saw, where the whore is seated, are peoples and multitudes and nations and languages. And the 10 horns that you saw, they and the beast will hate the whore. They will make her desolate and naked. They will devour her flesh and burn her up with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to carry out his purpose by agreeing to give their kingdom to the beast, until the words of God will be fulfilled. The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.